say, here, Phil, take my home. Oh, by the way, that's fine. My loan will stay on my credit for the next 10 years. You just pay it each month. He needed to get rid of his home. He was in a tight spot. Most people aren't in his situation, but we're not dealing with most people, are we? We're dealing with a select few people. They need to be motivated to get rid of their property. And this is another little tip in business. You may want to circle this in your ongoing notebook of life. You are not always your customer. Have you ever looked at a retail store before and gone, man, how do they stay in business? Man, I'd never see anybody there. I'd never go there. I'd never buy anything there. They're overpriced. You are not their customer. Businesses cater to certain customers. And if you're not in that little box, you may never understand why that business is even alive. All of us in this room, college educated, we may never in our right minds let somebody just take our home and they just make payments to the mortgage. But there's a lot of people that are in desperate situations and need to get out. And sometimes this works out really well. I'll give you an example. If somebody's actually falling behind on payments and you can catch them up, now that would be a little bit of a down payment, right? Maybe a couple of $1,000 to catch up the back payments. You can actually help their credit, which it's better for you to catch up the payments than for them to sell their home. If they sell their home while they're behind, it actually hurts their credit more. So it actually can help them. There's going to be some people that say, Phil, I am not going to just turn my house over to you. Just because you're going to take over the payments, that's fine, that's dandy, but I'm not going to just give you my home. In that case, we go to a lease option. That's the third way. The lease option, the owner's still on the deed, the owner's still on the mortgage, the owner still owns the home. The difference is you get a lease and you get the option to buy. Raise your hand if you've signed a lease here. Okay, great. So you've been through that experience before with a landlord. Well, it's basically a lease, but then you also get an option to buy the property for maybe a couple of years or more. And that option to buy, what's nice about that is you're the only one who can buy it, but you don't have to buy it. Okay? Let me give you an example of a deal like that. So, this was a for rent sign. So if you're driving around and you're looking for your next rental for maybe next semester where you're going to live, you may want to use this little technique here. So I saw, I've forgotten already. All right, yeah. He said, well, I need at least 800, minimum 800. I'd really like to do 850. The guy wasn't a good negotiator. He started telling me it's a low bid, right? And I said, I got you. What's the situation? He said, well, just graduated from Vanderbilt nursing, and I got a job in Atlanta, and I'd like to get moved out as quickly as possible. And I'm having trouble selling the home right now. I've had it listed for a couple of months and nobody's buying. That happens. You know, I mean, here's what his problem was. His problem was that his condo complex was being built. It was still being built at the time. What that means is he was competing with builders. And so if somebody came into that condo complex to buy a condo, that builder would just take him by the hand and say, oh, come on down here. We're going to get you some paint. We'll get you whatever carpet color you want. We'll get you a brand new building. And who do you think they're going to buy from? The one that's 2 years old, that they can't change the paint and carpet color, or the brand new home? You see? So he was competing against this builder. So he couldn't sell the property. So I asked him, same thing I asked Corey. I said, would it work for you if, I can't buy this property for what you're asking right now and just pay the loan off, but what if I just took over the payments? So you could move to Atlanta. You could get to your new job and get moving. And then I could, I'd deal with it from there. And then at some point in the future, I could sell it. Hopefully, be in a couple of years. I have to wait for this builder to finish building. But then after that happens, I can get rid of it then. And he was all about it. So I sent the paperwork over to him. Well, his mom was a 20-year real estate agent in Atlanta. And she said, whoa, don't just turn that house over to this old boy. Sorry, I'm from Tennessee. These are some Tennessee phrases. He said, instead, do a lease with option. So that's what we did. So in other words, a lease with option is kind of a fallback plan if the seller won't do as subject to. And what happens is I put the deal together for 6 years, $800 a month with the option to purchase it for $120. And so in this particular case, I moved somebody in, a tenant, and I gave the tenant the option to buy it, well, for more than $120. It was more like $130. And so I sold it to the tenant a few years later. So that's the other way to do it. Now, this would be pretty simple for any of y'all